for developing a Minecraft server, all that fun jazz. We're going to cover a whole bunch of different topics, and then at the end we're going to have a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. I'm Morgan. I am Pwny on our server called Witchcraft. And this is Steve. He owns Witchcraft. This is Jeff. Kurtis! I'm so sorry, Kurtis. All right, with MCPVP. And then we have Jeff at the end, who kind of helps out with a bunch of people. Flips around. So,
of course, we want to talk about our servers and kind of explain who we are. I'm from Witchcraft, and we are a creative and survival multiplayer server, and we offer a bunch of different things for our players. And we have a lot of fun with grabbing people on, and they can choose what they want to do and what type of mode they want to play. And it's just a great server, and we have a lot of fun with it.
So I'm Kurtis, that's Kluke in game from MCPVP. What MCPVP, we've been around since about December 2010. We first started out as a just hardcore PvP server. So when I first started playing Minecraft, that's always what I envisioned playing, but when I first started playing, it was back in the days where like there was no health in multiplayer, you know, so but eventually that got added, and I started looking around for multiplayer servers to play on. I just didn't find any that I liked. So we're a real minimalist server. We don't have rules. The only rule is you can't hack, no cheating on the server. And since then we've branched out into various game modes of PvP. So we have Capture the Flag, Hunger Games, Death Band server, various game modes. So yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Pease. My in-game name is Jeff Pease. Did not know before that was just going to be my Minecraft account name. I used to help run a Minecraft server called Cold Shoes World. It was a cloud server. We had lots of servers. I was concerned mostly about marketing and social media on a website. So like one of the young gentlemen over here said about marketing. And now I currently focus on building a community that's aimed at boosting servers, people, as well as marketing and donation support, as well as I focus on training staff, and we're going to be covering all of that.
So Witchcraft has been open for about a year, and we've been having a lot of fun with trying to figure out who we are. And that's basically going to be the first thing you do when you decide that you want to run a server, is you have to figure out what you want your players to come on and do on the server. So we decided we'll start off as a survival server, and then people will build things and kind of create a unique look for our server, and when they build something they can earn a rank. And each rank offers a different perk, and through those things they can fly, get creative mode, item spawn, and people seem to like that. And sometimes it takes a while and you don't. People think, oh, I can't get those ranks. So we also offer donation ranks, and that's how you kind of fund your server. So that we'll go into that later, but we mainly are in the process of developing what we want to do for our server. I started Witchcraft as a hobby, so it's not like we're trying to make the server profitable, but we've kind of grew into that, and that's where we are now.
So server identity, I think, is the most important thing for you to think about whenever you start your server. You need to start a Minecraft server for the right reasons. You can't just say, I think it would be fun to start a Minecraft server, so, I'm just gonna, throw some stuff together and see what happens. You want to find a niche. So you want to figure out what exactly, what do you want your Minecraft server to do? Where where is your hole in the community where that you can fill? So with MCPVP, like I talked about when I was during my introduction, the hole I saw was that, you know, I didn't want to get on a server and fill out a whitelist. I just wanted to hop on and play. I wanted to hop on and play and not have to worry about, oh, did I say the wrong thing in chat? You know, is this a PvP zone? You know, can I destroy this building? So we made our servers centered around the idea that you can do whatever you want, you know, as long as you're not cheating. And, you know, cheating requires you to go do all this extraneous stuff to install, you know, mods on your server. So it's not just something any regular Minecraft player is going to hop on your server and accidentally cheat. And so that's the hole we decided to fill. And I think server identity, I mean, it's definitely the most important topic for you to think about. There's, you know, the niche that you fill, you know, is what's going to define, define your entire server. And that's going to spread into, you know, your staff, your monetization. We're going to talk about these things later in more detail. But that's, I mean, if you don't have a niche, then you're floating around. You're a Me Too server. I mean, you don't want to be a Me Too server. You want to build your own server that's you. You don't want to, you know, look like everyone else. Because, you know, if you have a bunch of paper clips in your hand, you toss them on a table, you know, which paper clip are you going to pick? If you have one yellow paper clip in the pile, you're going to pick the yellow paper clip because it's the one that stands out from the rest. So you definitely want to be unique.
Well, with regards to server identity, what I do, or what my community does, is I've been on a variety of up-and-coming servers, Cold 2's World being the largest one, as it was a server cluster. Finding your niche as a beginner when you come to servers, like he said, a lot of you need to find your aim, your focus, what you want to do. With Cold 2's World, we were lucky to be able to be a large entity. We had niches, we fulfilled a lot of niches through different servers. So for us, it wasn't necessarily about the niche, about focusing on one server as in how to market each of those special things under one umbrella. But as I've been on other servers, the idea is to focus on that one special thing, whether it was being a pure vanilla server, which is, lo and behold, a really rare thing these days. How to execute that as well, and then as we go through staffing monetization, the niche is what's going to be what you're going to drive through your promotions, through your marketing, and through your perks, because it's all based on what your game, what your type of server is going to be.
So one thing too that you also have to figure out is exactly what kind of node you want your server to be, and that's incredibly important. If you can have multiple nodes in your server, so you can have like survival, PvP, and creative, but you have to figure out how to bring those together without, you know, overloading your members. So if you have all these different things and it's not presented in a way that's appealing or there's nothing new, you're not going to keep any members. They're going to go onto your server, see that, oh, I can do this, but what will that get me? You want to have like levels in almost everything as well. So if you have, you know, survival, let's say, because I'm more familiar with that one, we have the different rank policies, and that is what drives people to actually want to keep playing. Because they reach one level, and they have something else to do. They have another level to get to. So you want to have some kind of either ranking system or something that they can achieve to keep people coming back to the moving forward. So if you just have like a regular server and you don't really have anything for them to gain, are they going to stay on your server? Probably not.
obviously choosing if you're going to allow your players to have creative or survival upon entering the server is going to create who you are. Because if somebody has creative, then you are deciding that you want to be a build server, basically. And if you have survival, that's more of an economy-based server, meaning your diamonds and your more valuable items will then have value. And that's where you'll have problems with people using modifications on Minecraft and X-raying and things like that, which are preventable, and we can go into that when we start talking about plugins. But choosing a game mode is going to be your identity with where you want to go with your server. So that is a really big decision.
So a third game mode that he had mentioned is adventure mode. And that's a pretty new one. But that's what we have sabotage servers and we have capture the flag servers. Those both run in adventure mode. So the way adventure mode works is to break anything, but you don't have any special permissions. So it kind of gives you a cool way to capture the flag. There's no really need to destroy the map, you know. So we load the map and you can run around, capture the flag, you know, kill each other, but we don't have to worry about, you know, fixing the map after the game's done, or anything like that, because it's an adventure mode. Something else I want to talk about in the server identity is keeping your server simple. If your server's too complex, you want any old user to be able to log into your server at any given time and know what's going on. If you log on to somebody's server and you have 1,000 notifications, you know, and you got, you know, a 10-foot wall, 10-foot high wall just filled with signs, and you have to, you know, read all the signs to figure out the rules to play the game. You're just automatically going to lose a certain percentage of your players. Now, there have been successful servers that have done similar things. So I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do it, because, you know, servers like that attract more hardcore players. There's a certain class of players who will definitely, you know, spend the time and resources involved to learn your game mode and get into it. And you can make super fun game modes that are super complex. But the way PvP tries to do things, we try to make things as simple as possible. We want anybody to be able to log on to any of our servers at any time and just immediately figure out what's going on. You know, it shouldn't take anybody longer than 30 seconds to know, okay, so I need to run and capture that flag, you know. So I think
besides making it simple, if it is more complex, if it's much more of a system, if you will, how we do it with Cold2's world was that we actually made it fun. A tutorial is not a bad thing as long as you keep them entertained. So, for instance, on several servers that we had an academy type thing where people would go through and they would read a few things, they would do things, and there would be a quiz. And if they, you know, didn't get the answer wrong or didn't get it right, they fell into lava and died. You know, stuff like that, even though it seems kind of awful to think about, is something that it will train your people when you get on the server for a longer time. If you, instead of just inundating them with a bunch of signs, as he said, on a wall. So if you do make it complex and you do have to enunciate all of the rules, ensure that it's fun, and if you do have a website that we'll go into later, you know, you can make it so that they can earn stuff through doing it. So it's more of a carrot approach. So that's something you can keep an idea when you are focusing on your server creation.
And I have something to add. Signs are the bane of our existence because people come on our server and they're like, signs, I don't want to read all those. So we actually created our server with basically walk through a portal, you go into the hub, pick where you want to go, and you have the rule book, which is a new plugin, which you actually can use the writable books And whenever anyone new comes on the server, they get this rule book, which they can keep in their inventory and go through whenever they want to. And it's at their discretion if they want to go through those rules or not. So it's a great plugin, really, to use. So rule book. So staffing. We're going to go on to staffing. Staffing is going to be the most important part of your server because that will create what the experience is for the player. The quality of your staff creates who wants to play on it or not, really. And that's why we actually created our server, because we played on a few and we had a lot of fun, but the staff became abusive, and we then thought, why don't we just do what we want to do and treat people the way we want to be treated? So that's why we created our staff group, and our staff group, we try to stay close and play games other than Minecraft, and really try to stay organized. And we have a meeting once a week just to talk about any changes we have on the server and anything we need to know. And it's a really fun process to select people that will work with us.
So obviously you can't just hire anybody that you just meet on your server and be like, oh, I like you. You just suddenly staff. You can't just suddenly give them off because, well, that's not a good idea. If you have a server that is anti-griefing, so you don't want to have griefing on your server and suddenly give somebody like all those powers, they're gonna go and destroy your server. So you have to choose people that you actually trust. You have to actually get to know them, and they have to understand how your server works. So the way that I became staff was that I was on the server for, 2 months or so, and I had staff members help me, and I suddenly understood how to, work the server, and I was answering other people's questions. So it was pretty obvious that I understood how the server works, because when people would ask questions, I would respond. Now you also have to find people not just knowledgeable, but polite. You can't just have rude people, being a staff. It's like a job, like a real job. You don't want somebody in your office that's rude and is just gonna sit there and play computer games all day. You want somebody that's gonna be actually respectable, polite. It's kind of very difficult to actually find somebody online. We've had a couple people that we made them pre-mod, which is the first step in the staff. It's kind of like a trial staff mode, which I think is a great idea. That way, in case something doesn't work out, you can just take away their pre-mod, and they don't have access to all the different commands, so they can't just go and destroy half your server in 2 days. Pre-mod can only do temp bans and log block, which is a plugin that we'll get into later, but that's pretty much all they can do. And then once they prove that they're on all the time, that they're helpful and know what they're doing, then they get to moderator. And moderator can do global bans and local bans and a whole bunch of other different things that help people. And then you have admin, which that's pretty much the next step up. Some of them have world edit, not all of them, because you have to kind of choose who has world edit. You don't want everybody to have world edit again, because of the whole briefing issue. And then you have owner, which obviously you can be the owner. But the staff is really what keeps your server together. The owner can't have eyes and ears everywhere. So you just have to make sure you have all the rules.
So there's 2 things I wanted to add to this. First of all, you don't want to hire until it hurts, right? So you never want to hire somebody else to do a job that you can do yourself. So basically, you don't want to expand your staff beyond the level that you absolutely need, to have your staff. So, for example, MCPVP, we have 60,000 players join our service every day, and we have 8 admins. And so, 8 admins manage 60,000 people every day. Now we have different levels. We have, moderators, and we have admins that are over moderators. But it's very key, because if you give too many permissions to too many people, it's going to get lost in the system, and someone's going to slip by with, you know, banning someone just because they got into a fight, or, you know, so to avoid abuse, you keep your staff close. You want a small, close-knit community with people constantly communicating. That brings me into my second point, is communication. Communication is key between staff members. You have to always be communicating. You have to be able to know what's going on. You want your moderators to be telling you, hey, these people are having these problems on the servers, so that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. Or, you know, people are confused about this, they don't understand, you know, how this works. At the same time, you want staff to be able to tell you, you know, this guy is really abusing this, you know, they're not really hacking, but, you know, they're abusing this particular thing, so we need to make it, you know, harder for them to abuse that. The way MCPUP does that is we have Skype chats. We have two different Skype chats for each level. We have moderators and we have admins. For our moderators Skype chats, we have casual chats and important chats. The casual chats, we add all the moderators and all the admins to the moderator casual chat. And so we're just constantly communicating. And I mean, the casual chat is just, you know, for the staff to just BS around and get to know each other. Because it's important for them to be close and to understand, you know, the limitations of each individual, you know, what certain people are good at. And then we have the important chat, which is where the moderators can say, hey, this guy needs to be banned because, you know, I saw him hacking. Moderators on MCPP can't ban, they can only kick. So you can kick somebody for 2 hours and then say something in the moderator report chat, and then the admins see it, and they can go on and investigate it further and ban if necessary. And then the admins, we also have our own personal chat. We have the casual chat and important chat as well. And so that's just, it's a great method to keep everybody in touch with each other constantly. Anytime anybody is online, they're always on the casual and important chats. And so if you need something real fast, you just, you know, send it in an important chat, you know, and everybody knows immediately.
So I have 2 points as well to go on about staffing. First off is some example based off of Cold2's world. Essentially, what you make your how you identify your server is how you're going to adjust your staff. How many staff is you're going to say is going to need? What kind of things are they going to do? Are there going to be different ranks that aren't going to be just focusing on the actual maintenance of the server, but also about creating the environment? On Cold2's world, we had a step-up rank system. It was kind of more complicated. There were about 10 ranks. However, the idea was that people, we were going to get our mod and admin and everyone else who was going to be maintaining the server through the system. So, you know, the first steps is to trust your users. You know, that's through constant communication, utilizing those voice communications such as Mumble, TeamSpeak, Ventrilo, and Skype. And then giving them permissions that you can gauge their what they're going to do. For instance, on ours, it was simply giving them a command which would give them items. Now, or, you know, let them get items for themselves to work with. And the question was, were they going to use them to give to other players, which was against the rules, on whatnot. So as we, you know, over time, we see how they work with each other and see if they do break rules, and if they aren't, then we take them to the next level. And that's where we teach them how to use those plugins such as World Edit, World Guard, and stuff like that. It's a staff-based training where we work with them in order to utilize such important plugins as well as LogBlock. And so that brings me to a point with using staff to set the environment. It's really important. Even on a vanilla server, People can come on, they're gonna build houses, they might meet some friends, and then they'll leave because they get bored. That's where staff come in. Not only do staff do the normal things such as facilitating the server, making sure it's running, making sure they need to reset it if they need to, tweak the plugins, but most importantly, interacting with the player base. On Cold2's World, as an admin, I would give players tasks like public buildings, whether it was going to be redesigning a new spawn or creating new bridges out of spawn, creating new spleef arenas. Giving them stuff to do empowers them, and empowering your player base is one of the key things in order to market your servers and to bring in people. Because if your server is boring, then no one's going to come. However, if you have staff who are willing to run game shows, one of the sites, or one of the servers we're on is Nox Crew, and they're known for their game show. And on their servers as well, they have people who are focused on, we have like admin of fun, quote unquote, and their job is to ensure that there are events running, as long as they can throughout the whole day. And that stuff is what makes the environment. Using myths from Minecraft, such as Herobrine, makes things go, it's amazing how that makes people excited about being on the server, coming on and building a house and then figuring out there's a temple of Herobrine underneath their house. They go nuts. So using stuff that has been perpetuated in Minecraft through the usage of plugins with your staff tremendously makes that experience much more worthwhile. So that's it.
Okay, so we're running a little bit short on time. We're just going to briefly discuss some technical aspects, and then we're going to jump to our Q&A. So first off, whenever you create a Minecraft server, we've talked about plugins a lot, but we kind of wanted to get into more specifics of some of you might not know what, for example, Bucket is. So the way plugins work in Minecraft is Bucket is a server mod. Basically, it replaces the Minecraft.jar that the server runs on, and it allows you to use plugins developed by yourself or by other people to change gameplay aspects. And so, we've talked about several things. You can have an anti-creeping plugin. You can have a rulebook plugin. There's hundreds or thousands even of different plugins for various game modes, and we don't want to get into real specific stuff there, but bucket.org is the website, and I'm pretty sure they'll have a panel this year, or at least the mod API will, which is the mod API is going to be the successor for Bucket.
Yeah, basically, like we were talking about, basics of starting a server. Obviously, to get Bucket, that is pre-installed on most server hosting companies. So if you want to have a server, all you have to do is Google Minecraft server host, and you can get one with Bucket already pre-installed. So some of the basic plugins that are great to have when we have questions about hacking, obviously. There are plugins that ban people and will actually warn other servers like MC bans, which actually I'm part of MC bans, and it's a great plugin to have as a starting server so that you can make sure that the people that cause your server downtime and try to destroy it will stay off of it. So that is a great plugin to have. But it depends on what you want your server to have, plugin-wise. And all you have to do is go to Bucket and search what you're looking for, and usually it'll have something available for you.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open it up to a Q&A session here. So does anybody have any questions for us? Let's try to keep it less, specific and more generalized. Sure, go ahead. So that's an entire topic that we wanted to talk about, but we didn't quite have time. So I think maybe we should briefly touch on it. And the topic is basically monetization, right? So how to make your server make money so that you don't have to shut down, so you can pay for yourself. And pure donations is one way to do it. And that's actually how MCPVP started off. We started off with pure donations. And basically for us, it didn't work. We barely made any money at all. Like, cost us easily 10 times the money we brought in on our server. And we almost shut it down. What we ended up going to is a monthly subscription service. And we were real specific in that we did not want to ruin the gameplay by providing features that gave users more power over other players. We wanted to add more convenience features. For example, normal players get 3 warps, VIPs get 5 warps, and MVPs get 10 warps. And so, a warp isn't something that you can use in PvP to your advantage. It's just something that helps you get, back to your base faster, or, to your favorite mining spot more quickly. And so we try to add convenience features and sell those for $5 a month or $10 a month.
Another thing that we have, so we have it a little bit different with the whole donations. We actually get quite a good number of donations coming in. So we have like one pack that will allow you to fly and do very basic item spawn. You can't, item spawn like, you have to be careful about what you let people item spawn, of course, because you don't want them destroying things. But anyway, we have that pack. Then we have another pack that allows you to
Yeah, basically you just want to sell things that you think would enhance the player's game experience, and that could help your server survive. All right, anyone have the next question?
Sure, back here on the left.
So, would you recommend renting a server from multiplayer users?
Basically, yeah, I mean, there are many different hosting services out there, and it's dependent on the price of what you want to pay. And you have different packages of how many players can actually access your server. So it's all dependent on what you want to pay. There are competitive prices out there for you to choose from. But a few good ones are like multiplayer, and there's also Beast Mode. So.
But yeah, I mean, I would definitely, especially if you're not very technically efficient, then you should definitely use a server hosting company, because they really dumb things down for you and make it super easy to get a server up and running. And if you want to try something new, if you have an idea and you think it might be a big success, I mean, the best way to do it is just start with a really small server. Even an 8-person server. And that's not going to cost you very much per month. And so you can use test out your idea with a minimal investment using a server hosting company, and not a ton of effort getting everything put together. Then as you grow, maybe you can graduate to something, something a little bit technical, or maybe it costs a little bit more money. But when you're first starting your server, I definitely suggest that you find a very low cost option. Next question. Sure, right here.
Yeah, banning is something you want to do only if that player is causing your server harm or other players. So there are plugins like MC Manage where there are guidelines for what you can ban a player globally, which will affect your reputation. But I only ban people if they cause our server harm. So that's basically what we're doing.
Yeah, basically the way MCPVP looks at it is, if you are driving away more players than yourself, then you should be banned. Now, I say that if you're being annoying, the only reason I ever ban people is for hacking. And hacking ruins the gameplay experience for other players. So you may lose one player by banning them permanently, but you're going to gain a lot more players because they're not going to be hopping on the server and seeing people flying through the air and saying, oh hey, that's not fair, you know, or somebody randomly appearing behind you and killing you, you know, really fast. And so it actually is really unfortunate that you have to ban people occasionally. But I think it's definitely a good policy to keep your bans as minimal as possible, but it's certainly necessary.
And I think especially with bans, the number of bans, I mean, yes, there are some that happen because of like red flags that are attributed towards banning services. But I think one of the biggest things is as an owner of a server, you need to realize, or you need to say, hey, if a lot of people are getting banned, there might be a very good reason that they might just be bored, okay? And that's the biggest thing, is that I've had plenty of cases on servers where people would come on and then they would grief, you know, because they were bored, they didn't know anyone on the server, they thought it was gonna be fun, but then they're like, wow, this is really boring, and then they just get banned, or they go to the next server. But the thing is that those same people, some cases, when they found friends, when they got together and started building with each other, no more banning, no more griefing, no more, you know, being annoying, because they found someone. So if you feel that you are banning more people, or you're having to do something like, you know, temp ban or whatnot, think about it, is my server entertaining enough, or am I being able to direct people to meet each other easily on a server, or are they like being sent out in, you know, some random place, or it's just too big? Stuff like plugins, I do assist that as well with creating borders. Not only is it a great thing to keep your server load light and so it doesn't crash, but it also forces people to interact with each other. And that's one of those big things you gotta keep in mind when you see or feel yourself that you're banning too many people. You can rehabilitate people, you have to be proactive with it, and your staff has to be on all with actively running for that. And that's obviously much more for people who have a maintainable, you know, 100, 150 people. You know, as you go higher and you have multiple servers, it gets kind of lost in transition, but that just means you need to up your staff load. So.
I just want to add one quick thing. When you ban somebody, you have to warn them first. A lot of times they're doing something against rules and they don't even know what to do. So you have to warn them. If you just start banning people left and right, the other members are going to see that, they're going to get intimidated, and they're just going to leave. Also, when you do ban people, you have to have records of it, because we allow the option that if somebody's banned, they can post on our forums and try and get that ban off of them. They have to follow a system. But if you have the records and you know that they were banned, you know, feasibly, then you keep the ban on them. Otherwise, you can see that, oh, this person got banned for no reason whatsoever, and then you take the ban off of them. As long as they have options and understand why they're getting banned, or, you know, a warning, then that's a good way to set up. Any other questions? Yeah.
J'ai rien compris. Attends,
So basically, you're saying how to prevent World Guard from being exploited? your log, you can actually set WorldGuard to show what commands have been used by a player. So that's a setting that you can edit, and it will show you who used WorldGuard and at what coordinates they were using. So that's one thing, like, you don't want to have people with WorldGuard that don't know how to use it, because it does cause downtime and issues. And there's no way to really roll it back unless you have a backup program. So, but
so that's going to end our Q&A here. We're out of time, but I think we are probably going to be available if you guys want to. If you see us around, we might meet right outside here. If you have any specific questions that we didn't answer. So I really appreciate everybody coming and supporting us, and hope you learned everything you came here to learn. Thanks, guys.
And if you would like to visit our servers, you can get the IP from us. I have some cards up here with our IP if you'd like to come check it out and see what we do. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.